Hi, everyone. So, today what we're going to talk about is budgeting and how to make a budget. So, how we do that is, and we do that for multiple reasons. So, we do that so we know at any time how much money that we actually truly have. Because I feel like if you look at your bank account, your bank account may say you have $1,000 in it, but you've also got $500 worth of bills coming out. So you really don't have 1,000; you have 500 to work with or play with or whatever. And I think oftentimes people make the mistake of looking at their bank and not actually tracking it on their own. Um, so I track it on my own, and I track it using my Google Drive. So that way I have access to it on my phone and I can always see how much money I have. So I've got a Google Sheets spreadsheet that has 3 tabs on it. And we're going to talk about all of the tabs that it has on it. So, excuse me, I'm coughing to death today. So the first tab is our budget tab. Okay, so on our budget tab, we take just 1 month. Okay, that's how we start. So we get paid every other Friday. So I would look at the pay periods for June, and I get paid on the 9th and I get paid on the 23rd. So I write down June 9th and I get paid $1,000. And then on June 23rd, and I make some space, June 23rd, I get paid $1,000. Okay? And then what I do is I go through all of my bills. Okay, so everything that is going to come out of my checking account. So what things that come out of my checking account on a monthly basis is my HOA fees. So so that comes out, let's say that comes out on the 15th. So I just put down 15, $40, okay? And then also that comes out of my paycheck is I do a savings account for all of my children. So that comes out on the 15th of the month. So I write 15, $400. So that goes to their savings accounts. And we'll talk about their savings accounts at some point too. Also comes out my mortgage. So my mortgage, let's say, is $500. It comes out on the 15th. And then what goes on my credit card is all of the power, the gas, the water, and the trash. But let's just for this example, we'll just parse those out. So then my gas is $100, my power is $100, my water is $50, and my trash is $25. Okay, so we'll just put those down there. And then we also have Lord help, we have all the subscription services like in the world. So we spend about $30, I think, a month on subscriptions. So I do $30 for subscriptions because we can't live without Disney Plus and we cannot live without Netflix. I can't live without Peacock because I'm in love with Yellowstone, and then we also have Paramount Plus too. So we have like all of them, and I think we have Hulu too. So I have that, all the budgets. And so when do those come out? We write down one comes out on the 5th, one comes out on the 20th, one comes out on the 13th, one comes out on the 4th, one comes out on the 5th. Let's just make it up, right? So, so when we budget for the dates in June, we're not actually budgeting for the payments for June. We budgeted for those in May. So we pay a month ahead. Now, it's difficult to get started with this, but once you get started with it, it will help you out in the long run. So the first thing we do is we get $500. That's our cushion. That's what we always keep in our checking account. And we keep that in our checking account so that way, if we miss budget, if we overdo, if there's an emergency, we have a cushion in there. But we don't calculate that in anywhere. It just lives in our checking account, $500. And as I said, it can be difficult to get started because $500 is a lot. There were times when my cushion was $100, sometimes $50. Sometimes there was no cushion. So if you can't get a cushion right away, that's okay. Let's just work towards that, okay? So my June 9th paycheck and my June 23rd paycheck are going towards things in July. So I'm paying a month ahead of time. So all these bills that are due at the beginning of the month, those are going to be pulled out of my June 9th check. So I basically go in and I say, okay, I can pay the power, I can pay the water, and it doesn't really matter which paycheck you pay them out of because you're paying it for July. So you can do it however it makes sense. So for example, I would pay the kids and the mortgage out of one check because that's $900 and I make $1,000. And then I would pay everything else out of my other check. So I'm going to move the 100, the 50, the 25, the 30, and the other 100 to the first check on June the 9th. And then I'm going to have, and the 40. And then I'm going to have out of my 23rd check, I'm going to have the kids and the mortgage. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I got 100, 200, another 100, 140. So that's let's just say that's $400 so I don't have to do the math, okay? So that's $400 out of my first check. And then on my second check is $900, leaving me $100 to spare right there, right? So out of this, so now I know I have $500 a month, 400 plus 100. I have $500 a month to spend, like to do whatever I want to with. So then out of that, I decide how much money I'm going to spend on groceries. So we spend about $400 a month in groceries and going out to eat. And I have more ways to save. I'm just very lazy and haven't done it in a while, but that's one of the things that we'll talk about in our list of monthly things that we're going to do. So that's $100, a month. So that leaves me $100 balance, which is enough for gas, for my car. So that's exactly how much money I have. And there's no wiggle room, really for anything in that. And that's okay because you're making your bills and you're putting money in a savings account. So I have $100 a month that's for myself out of that $400. So I'm still paying myself and saving some money. There were times when I could only put $5 in a savings account every month, and that's okay. Whatever you can put in is what you can put in, and that's what you can put in, and your future self will thank you for that. And so then what I do is I go through and I make a ginormous spreadsheet. So one of my tabs is called the budget tab. And I go through and I take in column A is every payment date. In column B is every amount. And in column C is what it's for. So I am going to flip my screen around. Don't get dizzy. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So let me flip it around. I think I can flip it around. You know what? I'm not smart enough to flip it around. So just hold on real quick and we'll try to do it this way. So see, that's every paycheck, date, the amount, and here's all the things that I'm paying in that paycheck. Next paycheck, here's the amount. Here's all the things I'm paying in that paycheck. So that way I know what I'm paying and when I'm paying it. So then when that day comes, when June 9th comes, I add all of that to my money tab because this is my budget tab, okay? Also on this tab, on the budget tab, I track everybody I owe money to. So for example, I owe money to Capital One. So I've got the balance of the Capital One and the starting balance when I started this. So I know when I make my $70 payment, how the balance is going down. And I track that because I want to know when I'm going to get down on those balances. And we'll talk about how to get out of debt probably in another meeting because this one is going a little bit over at this point. So if I go to my money tab, which is a different tab, all together. This is actually how much money I have in my checking account. So you'll see that I have already placed in there the things that are allocated for that paycheck, but I've put like not paid beside them. So then at the top is really how much money I have to work with. So I'm going to figure this out again and see if I can do it where you guys can see it. Okay, so then this is my money tab. Down here is my money tab. This is my balance, $719.13. And then I've added in the things here. Even though I've not paid them yet, I've added them here because they come out on their own. So I have $500 in here. So as of this date, I have $219.13 that I can spend. Some people don't put the $500 in here so they don't see it. I could go with that. It kind of freaks me out, but I could go with that. So all of the things that have not been paid yet, these things come out on their own. So they're not paid just yet, but I've already taken them out of my budget. So that way, when I look at this on my phone, I know I have $219 in there. And then we're going to go back just a second if I can figure out how to use the mouse with my left hand. We're going to go back to the budget and see these are all the things that I owe money to. And then this is how I'm tracking my payments on those things. And then I also have on this sheet an allowance because one of us is terrible at balancing money. So this is the allowance tab. So this is how much allowance I have for this month. This is the amount of money that I can blow every month, what I can do whatever I want to with, and there's no judgment, right? It's $200 for the whole month, and I need to use that for my gas and my groceries. So I've already been to the gas station, and then so my total of how much I have is $173. So that helps me not spend money I don't have. And that also helps me forecast where I'm going to be able to save money. So as I go through the budget, I'll see for the May 26th paycheck, I ended up $24 over. So that's not much, but it's $24 more than I had to begin with. So I know at the end of the month, I can move that $24 into a savings account. I can move that $24 to my Capital One card. I can move that $24 to another debt that I have. I can move it wherever it needs to go. Or if something were to happen, I needed an extra tank of gas, or, the oven blew up and we had to buy an extra dinner. I know I have that money in there for, an emergency. And then if you're under your $500, then you just leave it in there. And that's how you keep up. And that's how you get to that $500 cushion. That's how you do it right there. It's a slow process to get started. And it is a little bit frustrating at first, mainly because, if you're not used to budgeting is hard. And telling yourself mentally that you don't need something when you know you deserve that something, it's hard. It's not easy. So the way I used to do that is I used to give myself $10 because that's not really all that I had. I gave myself $10. So if I saw something that was not needed, like a purse, I'm bad about purses, or shoes, or like some fun pens or something, I would be like, okay, I've worked hard this month. I can afford to spend $10. And I would buy myself some glitter pens because I like glitter pens. Or I would buy myself like a new, maybe a new like nail polish or something, because there was a time when I used to care about my nails and would paint them. But now, no, don't do that. And then as I got more financially able to do this, I'd go up to $25. And then when things started getting crazy and I got way over my budget on things, I would push it back down to like $25 or $10 or something. And I would really focus in on, we're not going to go back in debt. So I use this strategy when I woke up one day and realized how much debt I actually had. So I single mommed it for 4 years. And I am a very stubborn person, and I refuse to accept help from anyone. So my credit card to the rescue, yay! And when I married my husband, I was $50,000 in debt. And that was a lot. And I had no hope of paying it down because every month I made less than I spent. And I overcompensated a lot for being a working mom whose kid went to daycare and being a single mom. I did. I overspent. I bought that child everything under the sun because I thought that money replaced time. It doesn't. But I thought that. So I just had to have a come to Jesus meeting with myself and say, okay, this is not how we're going to live. We cannot live like this. We can't do anything. And if anything were to go wrong, we would have nothing. If my car would have got a flat tire or something, I would have literally no way to pay for that. So I started small. And I focused on trying to save the $500. I did that first. Then after I did, and I just made the minimum payment on my credit card. Then what I did was I curbed the spending. So I started really tracking the money that we spent. I went through a month of my credit card and I calculated how much money I spent on Amazon, how much money I spent on food and gas. And I decided to, obviously I had to break up with Amazon because it was too much. That 2-day shipping thing is just, it's like, downward spiral. So I limited myself to $25 on Amazon, and that was it. And I started canceling services that we didn't need that were going on my credit card. And I really focused in on, only spending $25 on myself, only spending $25 on my son at the time, on things that were, not necessary. Obviously I bought the kid food, right? But I didn't buy him every toy under the planet, and I didn't, we didn't go to a bunch of movies and stuff like that. Instead, we invested in other things. So I cut the cord to the cable and we just had Netflix for a while. And he was fine with that. I mean, he was 3 or 4 at the time, right? So he was fine with just that. And I was a single mom, so I didn't have time to sit down and watch anything. So I just didn't, right? And things like that. So, and we slowly got where we needed to be. And it was probably 2019. So that was 5 to 6 years, maybe. I don't know. Math is not my thing. When I was finally able to pay off the $50,000 worth of debt. So now today, me personally, I am debt free. I have my mortgage. So, I mean, I'm not crazy. I have my mortgage. And I pay off my credit card bill every month. And I am saving money every month. So I've got a good, chunk of money in my savings account should anything ever happen. And I have started a savings plan for things. So I save for everything. So I going back to the planner, I go and I say, how much money do I need for my Father's Day gifts? I need $75. Do I have $75? No. So I need to start saving. How far back do I need to start saving to get that $75? And then I write it down on my budget. $25 in May, $25 in June, $25 in July. That's my $75. And I put it on my little budget sheet, and that's how I get that money. Christmas, same thing. And we'll go over Christmas probably in a different meeting because it's a lot. But I do make a plan and I do actively save money. Not saying it's easy at first, because telling myself no is not something that I can do very well. I don't like the word no, and I definitely don't like it when people tell me no, but it was necessary to be able to breathe, because now, I'm able to do things and I'm able to have fun and I'm able to purchase something if I want to. I don't really anymore, but I can. And knowing that I can, it just takes the stress off. So that's how I budget. If you have any questions, I can show different things. I can show more. I can answer any questions that you have about it. I'm not saying it's like perfect, but it's the way that I do it, and it's the way that helps me, and I think it will help others. I've actually helped probably 4 people maybe at this moment get out of debt by putting them on a budget and being very strict with their money. That's just the sample I showed you was one of my folks that I'm helping get back where they need to be. And it's something that I think that I'm good at. But anyway, so I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will talk more later. Thanks so much for watching, and if you're interested in more, please do that whole like and subscribe thing. Thanks so much.